All right, cool. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
So, are you a lefty or a righty? Because if you're a right wing guy, then this is kind of pointless.
Okay, I'm a lefty.
Awesome. All right, let's start it off. What do you
Yeah, give me
think
a
about
sec.
health? What do you think about healthcare? Let's just go right into it. Healthcare.
Give me one sec. I'm just putting chat back up on my screen.
Hold on,
Cool.
bad boy. I'm gonna talk to this guy real fast for a little bit, and then I'll do my solo. But I just want to talk to this guy real
Yeah,
fast because he seems kind of normal. So
I'll take that. Hold on. Do you want to? So we're debating. We're gonna go
or anything.
over a couple different things. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hold on. I'm just changing some stuff. So you want to talk about healthcare?
Sure, or the healthcare, gun rights. We can talk about
Yeah.
border. You choose, man. Whatever the hot
Yeah.
topic is.
Well, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just putting nicotine in my mouth. So, trying to think about the most pragmatic thing here.
I
Healthcare.
think the
Go ahead.
okay.
No, go
I
ahead.
think the border is the hottest issue of the day.
Sure.
So you can start it off.
Yeah. Hold on. My boys tell me I'm a little bit quiet here. I'm just going to turn my volume up. Cool. Raven, let me know if I'm sounding a little bit better now. So, yeah, the border. Um, well, I think what's going right now, I mean, whether it's Trump or Biden, the things going on the border have continued to progress very poorly, right? A lot of that is due to a lot of, not recent necessarily, but a lot of involvement in the US or from the US in Latin America for a very long time. Now, that's not everything, but as you probably know, CIA has had a lot of involvement in Latin America
Yes,
and a lot of exploitation of like banana republics, fruit, labor, all that, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. And so now, do I think like everyone should be like crossing? Well, no, right? Well, not in the current state of the world, right? But I do think that we should try and uphold things that we view as what we view in regards to like asylum, right? A lot of these
Mm,
people are just people trying to get out of very dangerous spots, very poor living conditions, and that's not just a the country's poor, and obviously that is the case with many different Latin American countries, some more than others. But a big part of that is actually the fact that there's a pretty, even many times worse in Latin America than in the U.S. Class disparity between indigenous people and people in like in a lot of places, Mexico included. They might call themselves more European. These are white Mexicans. By the way, I'm a white Mexican, but I'm very separated from my Mexican roots. But
okay.
that's what a lot of people don't think about, right? That there's this kind of class disparity. There's this, we always just see like these brown people at the border, and we don't know why. Now, a lot of what's been going on is we get them at the border, we'll go out, bring them in, separate. That happened with Obama, yes. Children's cages, yes. I know it was a hot topic with Trump. It's still an issue now. It was made worse by Trump. It's still bad, the same, basically. I've heard that, what was it? Biden said something about bigger cages, basically. So, if anything, the normal process for asylum, most of these people are just wanting to come here in the proper way. Asylum, you need to come across the border first to declare it. Then you need to do that at a public, generally like a courthouse, a police station, things like that, right? You come over. You thank you so much, Space Donic, for that 51 follows. Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry about that, Cola.
That's fine. Congratulations on the follows.
No, thank you. So basically, though, what to do this process, you need to come over. What then generally happens is they let you go, but ICE or an organization such as like that keeps tabs on you while they're going through their work. What's been happening for a long time now, and I'm not going to blame Trump or anything like that, like, right? For an extended period of time, obviously with a crisis starting with Obama till now, right? Or beforehand as well. That we keep them at the border where gang members can exploit them. People come in trying to smuggle things in with them. People try to convince them that, hey, like, you need to come with us, or like they're in a very inopportune spot in this kind of legal gray zone where also now what we have determined, and you may not like this term, it's been used before, but concentration camps, right? Now, I'll say it's not Auschwitz. It's not. But we do know of things like hysterectomies happening to Hispanic people, where we're basically sterilizing people. Now, this may not all be completely intentional. Sure. But we do know that we're not treating these people like people. There are ways that it could be handled. There's a lot of different solutions. People bring up things like sanctuary series, yada, yada. I know I've been talking for a little bit. I'm curious to hear your take.
Yeah, no, I have a lot to say. I was just letting you finish. You're right when I don't like the term concentration camps, because I have actually just got a book, The Tigers in the Mine. It talks a lot about the concentration camps, and I think it's very, very, very insulting to refer to them as concentration camps. And let's just get it clear. These camps were started by Obama during, the Immigration Act of 1960. That's when it's like the main one started.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned earlier, Trump made it worse. How exactly did Trump make it worse?
So I believe, and I'm not going to admit to knowing all of this. What I do believe is, more numbers did increase. And I believe conditions changed quite a bit. We do know that, and this could have very well been happening over Obama. I'm not here to defend libs. I'm a lefty, right?
How left are you? Would you consider yourself a Marxist?
I was kind of talking about this earlier. There's a lot of people that are like tankies that consider themselves Marxist-Leninists. There's a lot of things that I view off of the foundations of Marx, right? I am a libertarian socialist, but for pragmatic reasons. Here's what I view this, right? You ever watch Star Trek? I want a Star Trek society. That is,
I have a Star Trek shirt on right now with cats.
There we go. So that is a commie society. Truly, what has truly been defined ahead of.
Okay.
Hold on.
I thought about this.
Well, I want to just my whole thing is, though, I don't see this happening in my lifetime, right? I can say my ideology is of a libertarian socialist, which means, right? I'm sure you've probably seen the political compasses, more freedom, but also more social safety nets. That's generally what SOC terms. Basically, it's an increase of democracy. I want democracies in the workplace. We can call these co-ops, things like this, yada, yada. I don't see communism happening in my immediate future. What I pragmatically want is to maximize the amount of liberty for people, increase democracy through things like more direct democracy, things like what just happened where I live in New York City, which is ranked choice voting, things like this, and also better social safety nets where we are in a, not just with race, but vastly unequal society through class as well, where people need the extra help. So that's where I stand. I want to prime us to get us to what we call like a SOCDEM or social democracy. That's what Bernie Sanders advocates for, right? That's still in the capitalist system, because I don't see us abolishing capitalism in my lifetime. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. A couple of things. I want to talk about
Yeah.
the Bernie. Bernie is good on foreign policy. Do you know Bernie had the exact same foreign policy as Donald Trump did?
I think I've heard that, but could you let me know what it was?
It's just
Because it was more.
non-intervention. Just
Go ahead.
non-intervention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a kind of like a Ron Paul take. Okay, I need to get back to the Star Trek thing because I'm a huge Star Trek fan and I'm wearing the shirt. Yes, you can consider Star Trek like the universe a utopia. You can consider it even communism, but they have food. I don't know how well you know the show, but they have food replicators. It's a completely different ball game. That's why it's fantasy. It's a TV show. Of course, that would be awesome if there were if there was machines that just produce food, produce anything you need, health equipment. Of course, we wouldn't need to be in a capitalist system because we could just replicate everything. But that's not the world we live in. That's fantasy. That's science fiction.
So two things. First off, I do know that Trump said that was his foreign policy, but we do know that he has interfered. Now, I will
Yes,
in
and okay.
but I will
Are
agree.
you talking about Syria?
But I will say that you can't just like not with everything. Obviously, we've been at war for decades, and I will at least give him credit in that, or benefit more, not really credit, but we were already very much in the Middle East. I won't give that all on him, right? There's a military-industrial complex that he did not create. With the Star Trek thing, I've often actually thought very much the same thing. Generally, my thought process is, we're not at I kind of see communism coming in two different ways, right? One way is the world, and I think this is going to be the more likely way, that in the coming years, we're going to lose more land, we're going to lose more crops, and it's going to eventually, unfortunately, be, the meme, return to monkey. We're going to have to...
Because of why?
Basically, because of climate change, we'll be losing crops and land, putting us in a very destabilizing world where it's going to either be having to do something that is more commune-based, or probably perish. The other option would be preferred, but probably less likely, is we find a source of infinite energy. In the sci-fi universe, we'd call this maybe something like a Dyson sphere, something that sucks energy out of the sun. But
Star Trek really isn't science fiction; it's more fantasy.
Here's what I'm going to say though. This is what I will say, that I think a lot of you say Star Trek's in this fantasy world. Yes, we don't have replicators. Although I do think that would be a technology that could happen, but let's stick to reality, right?
Yes.
We do currently live in a post-scarcity world. We do. We have enough money and enough food for everyone on this planet, but not everyone does have that. Is there a reason for the people that do have the ability to provide all that money? Now, I'm not saying that just because you might work hard means that you have to give up all your labor, whatever. But we have enough money that's not even just in some billionaire's pocket, but in investment firms. And let's talk academia. I go to a school that's a very big school. It is a big name school, right? But it is also actively a hedge fund. That's what it is. Goldman Sachs invests in it. Other places invest in it.
Would you consider it a left-wing university?
Yes.
Because most of them are.
Well, here's what I'll say about that idea. I will say my university is very politically active, prominently left. It was very famous for its activity during the Vietnam War.
Would you consider the word indoctrination at all? Like given the easiest stance on that word you can, Would you consider it? Do you think they're indoctrinating kids to vote a certain way, to think a certain way? This is just an off question. I mean, you can answer it truthfully.
Yeah. So before I get to that, and I will answer it, I promise. What I will say though is, you were asking like, are schools generally left wing? What I would say is the school itself is not. The school is capitalist by nature. Left wing, generally, it kind of insinuates an idea of being anti-capitalist. Schools, I mean, especially now, more than ever, are, especially the big ones, but all of them, are hedge funds for a lot of rich people, and that's what they do, is make money and pull money in.
Yeah, now, from the government loans that are guaranteed to be paid back, even if they garnish the wages of the students. Yeah.
Right, but that, again, that doesn't mean it's leftist. That just means that they've found a nice way to just keep on making money. And a lot of the times, depending on what schools it is, right, like if it's a big fancy one, they have just really rich people that pay, alumni pay, their kids that go pay, their kids, their grandkids that go, you know. Now, the professors, yes, I will say a lot, not all, a lot of professors are more left-leaning.
Don't you think that's a problem?
No, I would say this comes a lot from more so the data than anything, because it generally, these ideas, now we can decide what's more conservative or not, or what's.
I'm just saying it's a place to share and acknowledge ideas, and if it's just mostly one-sided, that doesn't seem too much of as, like, by definition, as a university, to be challenged by new ideas. I don't even want to say ideologies, but ideas in general.
Sure. I have no doubt that there are Republican professors, or not even, I won't even necessarily say Republican, but conservative.
Outspoken ones? Do they hold, like, how many? Like, on, like, percentage-wise, how many do you think that are quote unquote conservative, or even just not, Marxist Leninist is what you said?
Well, I'm not a fan. Like I was saying, I think people who identify as Marxist Leninists are generally people that don't even really believe in leftism. They're just tankies. That was a whole thing I was covering earlier, which are basically red fash is the leftist term for that. So, no, what I was going to say though is I don't know about necessarily outspoken ones, but I also don't primarily know like any outspoken lefty professors at my school. Now they might talk about certain things that you might consider lefty ideas, but that doesn't, I mean, and that generally does seep into maybe how they vote. Not all of them may vote too. Some of them are here on work visas as well, you know. I'm trying to think if I've had any class that I've really been like pushed any other way, or like really like put down in ideology. I think
really,
I think there's a thought like that you go in. Now I'm not going to say that there's these ideas maybe don't seep out, but there's a lot of these things that are from academia that look into like things like sociology, right? We look at culture, and a lot of this does seep into and eventually come into left-leaning ideology or views. But you don't even necessarily need to hold those positions to hold maybe some of those ideas. You know what I mean? Because like you could be a sociologist, and you could be more conservative. You could be religious. Maybe you're a Christian sociologist. I'm not going to say like full on fundamentalist, but maybe, like you go to church on Sundays and stuff, but that doesn't mean that you can't recognize discrepancies in, honestly, I would say actually even more, some of the best, like, I don't want to say best Christians, that seems a little rude. But sorry for all the noise.
That's fine.
Sorry, my girlfriend's doing stuff. Hold on.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go run to the kitchen real fast. I'm gonna leave you
Okay.
with one question. Think about it.
Do it.
You probably heard this 1,000 times, but I just want you to think about what country has benefited from a communist state, and how have they benefit from it? I'll be right back.
Sure.
3 seconds. Just think about that.
Hey, chat. I'm checking out what are you guys saying right now.
Okay, I'm back.
Yo, sorry about that, babe. Cool. Sorry, I was just checking chat.
Oh, you got chat. You're lucky, man.
Dude, this is the most active I've ever had it. So thank you. And this is something I've been wanting to do. Is I haven't had the numbers yet, and people come in. And today was just one of those days that turned out to be the good day. So I've been like writing 5 to 7 viewers throughout the day, which not the norm.
It's hard to hold right wing positions and gain a following on Twitch, and Twitch is like the biggest platform for
I believe
like.
that.
So it's really hard for me. So hey, other person's chat, if you really want an honest right wing guy, watch. You don't have to follow me. Just maybe watch me and see if I resonate. But go ahead. Did you think of a country that benefited from communism?
So, okay. So there's a couple ways to look at this, and so unfortunately, you kind of missed what I was talking about earlier with like China, because I do not stand China. The Marxist-Leninists might, and that's why I was talking about it, because I was talking about the Uyghur genocide and why I don't like this defense of things like the CCP, who are very communist in name only. However, I will say that they did start as a socialist revolution, and I did talk about how even actually things did benefit from that. However, that they were based on a cult of personality, aka Mao Zedong. Women's rights actually were pushed through the Cultural Revolution that was happening against the Kuomintang back in the 1940s, in them trying to start this revolution, which China is a very odd one in general because they were not industrialized like the Soviet Union or America, and their focus was much more on bringing this idea of the peasantry as the working class. But their country was giant. There was a real socialist movement. Mao Zedong did push it. There was a push for women's rights, and it did happen. A big push of these women's rights were saying like women can join the military, women can work just like men work, and women can choose who they can be married to. Now, this revolution became very, you probably heard the term reactionary before, right? Well, Mao Zedong and members of, especially very young members of the socialist movement, as they then pushed the Kuomintang out, which then later they fled to a place now called Taiwan, and they eventually formed the Taiwanese government. They or the Republic of China, the other one. They after they had gained this momentum and were trying to build this communist government, they were very behind. They did not have this industrial force. They did not have the money. But one thing that did very much come through multiple cultural revolutions that became a very big problem is that anyone that had a dissenting opinion was a reactionary, and reactionaries shouldn't be there. This is where that tanky mentality comes from. I do not stand authoritarians, right? I'm a libertarian socialist. Mao Zedong is very north of me on the political compass test, right? So what happened?
Can I stop you there real fast?
Yeah.
Can you define libertarian socialist?
Yeah. So,
It seems it
yeah,
seems
go ahead.
oxymoronic to me.
Yeah. Well, and because there's a lot of, and we have been working very hard about it in the US for a very long time about propagandizing this idea of what communism is, as well as doesn't help with groups like China, which again I can get to a little bit more later, but they are not communist because, as Marx would define communism, is a classless, stateless, borderless, and moneyless society. Basically, which, sounds really nice, definitely couldn't happen anytime now, right? Definitely not possible. But the general idea is to not have a state. Now, how do you enforce things like social safety nets or whatnot? Well, the better way to think about it is making the country a giant union, as in not like, the union like the US, more like more direct democracy, where, like how we have things federalized here, such as the states, that would go down into territory like it is, where democracy would be your everyone would be politically active, such as including in your job. Meaning that does not mean everyone is the boss. It means that you, along with everyone else that you work with, has a bit of a say in who does manage you. That doesn't mean that you can't be fired. That doesn't mean that. Also, this isn't a world that you're not getting paid in either. And also, it's not everyone's making the same amount of money either. You can still have money because money is just a representation of your labor, right? Of what you have done to equate this, right?
Okay.
So basically, if we have some basic rules like we do in the US, one of the big ones being direct democracy and democracy in the workplace. These are essential, which would also mean like there may be like a big boss, but not in the same way that we think of a CEO today, right? And there would be no direct owner of anything. But does there have to be when the workers can come together and actually build something? Most CEOs do not have a grand vision. Hell, even Elon Musk didn't invent the Tesla. He bought it. He didn't invent, you know what I mean? He has engineers at SpaceX. He had the investment. But why can't the people invest together? So the reason why it's thought of as antithetical to what we often what is often kind of taught as is communism in the U.S. is because we look at places like the USSR and China. We demonize them a lot, and there's a lot to demonize. Just as there's a lot to demonize about the U.S. Giant states do a lot of fucked up shit. I think we can both agree on that. So what happened with China was they started calling everyone reactionaries, started purging a lot of people out of there. Eventually, Mao Zedong retired. Well, then Deng came in, I believe it was at that point, and started loosening some socialist policies, making it a little bit more capitalist because China needed it, because China was not industrialized. Well, Mao Zedong did not want that. He was kind of a woke scold on Twitter, a bit of a purist. You know what I mean? And so he was not very pragmatic there. Well, he had a cult of personality, and he was able to retake the government. Since then, it has been a single-party state that has, however, converted to capitalism. I mean, communism does not mean authoritarian. We know this because look at fascists, Nazis, and the Italian fascists. The Nazis were very well in with their companies because fascists were more than happy to protect the status quo, right? But China, they call themselves communists, but yet they're making commodities. They're not isolationist. Well, in a perfect world, everyone would be communist all over and there would be no borders, right? But they were active in monetary trade and the exploitation of labor. We know this. So they don't have democracy in the workplace, which is one of the biggest things, right? The workers own the means of production. That is like the biggest thing. Ask yourself that. Do they own the means of production? No, then it's not communism. One of the one country that is still pretty socialist, but is also bad on civil rights. However, that has had definitely great benefits, though, still coming out of their socialism, is Cuba. Cuba recently had, they made a lot of people, got the most people in their country literate. And also they recently have made, and a lot of people are in America trying to get to, which under Trump got made harder. I don't know if that's been changed. And I think we're testing it now here for the FDA. But Cuba has made a lung cancer vaccine. So it's called like a vaccine, but it's a treatment and cure for lung cancer. This came from, also, if you notice, we also have a lot of doctors that come from Cuba. A lot of people and science that comes, excuse me, out of there. Now, if I was to argue the USSR, also the USSR was not, again, socialist movement, Bolshevik movement was definitely real and based off of a real proletariat workers' revolution. However, in the end, it manifested with Lenin, who thought that there needed to be a state, and then Stalin, who even Lenin thought was bad news. And guess what? He was right about that. Stalin was one of the most pro-state motherfuckers around, and he killed a lot of fucking people, and he did a lot of fucking fucked up shit. But
so why do you think the current left-wing, radical leftists in the U.S. today proudly wave the hammer and sickle? Like, what do you think about that? Do you think they're morons? Do you think they're just ignorant on the history? Because that terrifies me.
Sure.
Why does the Nazi symbol? Why are they so scared of the swastika and not scared of the hammer and sickle? I always wondered that.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
I
no,
know
that's
you
a good
think
question.
Stalin's bad and everything. It's just a question I have.
No. It's a good question. Because this is something that I was talking about earlier. It's funny that you talked about this because I was talking a lot about tankies and like our need to, as leftists or as a left-leaning person, that includes if you're like sock dem, still not abolishing capitalism, but more social safety nets.
Wouldn't we already be a sock dem nation? With the safety net we have in the
we
country?
have a very poor safety net, and the reason why, and
you think we do?
yeah, because first off, most people that are on social safety nets already are not being lazy. Actually, that's quite the misconception. Most people that are on social safety nets have a job, at least one, if not two.
I'm not saying they're lazy or anything. It's just I think we handle it pretty well, especially during the pandemic. Look at us. We gave how much money to everybody?
Barely enough, my friend. But here's what I'll bring up.
Barely enough. I mean,
here's what. Let me get to the
what's the unemployment rate right now? 6%.
Let me check, but I'll get on other things on that. Let me get the hammer and sickle question out of the way, and then I want to kind of address that in a different way.
Okay.
The hammer and sickle thing, it definitely doesn't have the same type of impetus as, and I don't know why, because you're right. Like Stalin killed a fuck ton of people.
8 million Ukrainians starved to death.
Yeah,
that's just one of the most terrible things. Okay, go ahead.
No, for sure. One of my best friend is Ukrainian. His grandparents were there during that same time. His mom and dad were actually rocket scientists in the Soviet Union.
Were they killed?
No. They his grandparents were during Ukraine during the famine. His parents escaped and came out to the U.S. and became dentists and a dental assistant.
Very, very lucky.
Yeah, no. But
and in a sense,
Yeah, no, for sure. But what I was talking about with tankies. There tends to be, or people that call themselves Marxist-Leninists. They're generally, you've probably heard the term all flash, no substance, that type of thing. They're usually just defending an idea of it's a giant virtue signal. It's aesthetics, which we can also see in people that are attracted to fascist movements, right? Look at fascists, either black turtlenecks or gray suits with skulls on it, right? There's always this kind of like appeal to this power, right? The hammer and sickle kind of feels that way. And look, I'll even say this. The hammer and sickle, I think, looks cool. It does. But I also think it's important as someone that is a leftist to not rely on aesthetics, because A, I do think it kind of attracts the wrong crowd, and B, it scares people away that, like, I'm not trying to be the USSR. You know what I mean? So, and honestly, even with Marx, while there's a lot of great ideas with Marx in there, the fact is we're not in the industrial era anymore. What we're going to need now is something different, or different views on how we do it. But to go into the question that you were saying about like social safety nets. So, and this came up to the very beginning of what we were talking about. With unemployment and things like that, like unemployment insurance, they're like just so you can survive if you need to, when the fact is, and this is how I view it, right? We are no longer in the world of winning wars by going out and hitting dirt. We're not in the way that we win wars. Look how China is
by proxy war.
Not even just that. We need to invest in our education and our healthcare, because if we don't, then we're fucked, because China's going to get ahead of us on that. Most quote unquote first world countries or OECD nations, the comparable countries to us, are way ahead of us on this. A lot of people get.
Let me stop you right there. Most of the medicine, do you agree? And this is what I think. Most of the medicine is invented in the United States.
So,
we have the lowest cancer rate. I mean,
this is true. We do have the lowest cancer rate, but we also have one of now the second highest obesity rate, and a lot of heart issues too. We do have a lot of great technology that goes into this, and a lot of medicine. However, we pay just like hundreds of times more, not only for things like like an EpiPen, like just at market value, because A, we have less regulations for them to do that. The reason why other countries pay less is because other countries regulate it and tell them that they cannot charge that. We not only pay, I believe it's like 300 times more for an EpiPen, like, and
that's a problem. I'm not saying that's not a problem.
I get that, but here's the other thing, though.
I think Trump did was actually lower the cost of diabetic medicine.
He did a little bit. However, actually, if I believe that, actually, I might have to fact check that, because I actually believe that was not as much, or not really as true as it was. I'm not trying to take anything away from the actual things that he did. I do believe, though, that one's questionable. But let's just say he did. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. What I was going to say, though, is we not only pay up front, but the reason why we have all this good medicine is because our tax dollars subsidize it. But our tax dollars don't subsidize our actual healthcare, but it only subsidizes the research, which, mind you, done mostly by universities, and a lot of them do it the right way. There's which vaccine was it? I think it might have been smallpox, or even the flu, maybe, where they made it real cheap and said this is for everyone, and did not copyright it. And you know what happened? These very shitty big pharmaceutical capitalist companies bought up those rights, and then used the money that we did to help make it, and then came back and charged it to us for an exceptionally high price. The fact is, these companies that benefit and profit off of medicine I remember they were that. I'm not even trying to bring this up for like drama, but like the whole like Oprah thing talking with Prince Harry and stuff. There's a whole thing on online, like a whole bunch of Brits were watching it, and they were just like blown away by the fact that we have like medication commercials because
Yeah, yeah, a lot. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I have a few international friends that are just blown away because like, hey, if you're sad, take this pill right
right,
after Oprah. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
So roughly
One thing,
650 to
one thing about
700, by
that.
the way.
We can change subjects a little bit just for a second about that Prince Harry thing, and they and then Meghan Markle
Yeah,
accused of the someone of saying, "Hey, how dark is the kid going to be?" Where do you stand on that? Like, don't you seem like it's a normal question? If you were, if you dated a black girl and had a kid, wouldn't it be normal to be like, "Hey, I wonder what, I wonder how dark they're going to be." Do you think there was mal? Do you think though? Do you think there was a what's the word like
dude, Meghan Markle looks pretty much
devi-
white.
devious? I know, but like, isn't say you had a kid and he dated a black kid, wouldn't it be like normal discussion to be like, yeah, I wonder how dark it's gonna be? Like, I think it was got blown up a little bit by that.
I,
What do you think about that? Do you think
here's
it was devious?
here's what I'll say. I think it's a little weird. I think if anybody else was gonna say it, like let's say you're like, I'm curious what they might look like, and if you were to say it like that, not really as much like, hey, how dark do you think they're gonna be, or like, but you're like, well, I wonder
Like,
what they're
what if
gonna
they have
look
a
like.
big nose? Like, do you think they're gonna have a big nose like
Yeah,
me
that
if
I
I had a
get,
big nose?
but like, let's also face it that we're dealing with like the royal family. Do we really want to like go out and like be like defending these let's
It
face
is
it,
a
these are
royal
weird
family.
little whack jobs that have been like fucking each other for like hundreds of years. Do we really want to like, let's be real, like I'm not gonna say that I know what they said. I don't really care even that much, honestly, not with this.
Yeah, me neither. It's just a question.
No, but I'm just saying it's like these guys have been inbreeding for hundreds of years. Do you think that they might have a weird little bias against people that might be a little bit darker? It's just a little odd.
Assuming, so I don't. It's hypothetical. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But but anyways, like I have some people in chat saying I don't really think that's a socially normal thing to ask someone.
I mean, like within a family, not publicly. Within a family, I think it is pretty normal. I mean, it is pretty
Yeah,
weird, like
but you also
publicly, but
yeah,
within the family, hey, am I gonna have a big nose? How dark am I gonna be?
sure.
Like, am
But
I
you
gonna
also got
have
to
big
remember
eyes,
Meghan
black eyes?
Markle. She had been like being attacked by British media for not like being pure enough in her genes. Like this was like a thing that was ongoing for a long
Then
time.
why does the United States get so much shit for this kind of shit when the royal family over there and I don't know. It's just I think the U.S. gets a hard.
Oh, I mean, fuck the Brits. The Brits are fucking weird and backwards. Like, yeah,
We didn't
duh.
have to listen to them since 1776.
Well, I mean, at least actually, I mean, we did have to listen a little bit during
Do you think?
1812
Okay, another question. Do you think
when they burned down the White House.
Do you think modern? Yeah. Do you think modern day conservatives would be loyalists back in the 18th century, or do you think modern liberals would be the loyalist?
Yes, I do think that they'd be the Tories.
Wait, what?
I do think that they would be Tories, yeah, defending
Okay.
the crown. Mainly because it's defending the status quo. And I mean, isn't generally conservative defending the status quo?
Yeah, it's conserving the culture. Yeah.
So here's my thing with this idea about conserving the culture. I'm not by the way, this is not me calling you one, but this is just generally
Well, please.
why it leads down that road. Because, and like I said, obviously lefties can be authoritarian too, right? But one of the big
Absolutely.
general ideologies behind fascism is conserving a culture, is the conservation of our culture specifically is what you'll hear, right? Or I'm sure you might have heard of the term the 14 words.
The white supremacist thing.
Yeah. So the 14 words.
All 5,000 white supremacists in the country. Do you think that gets blown up a little bit because the numbers are very, very low? Like actual white
So,
supremacists, not like a racist neighbor that but like
okay,
an actual. They attend meetings and stuff. Just like Charlottesville. How many people actually did show
sure.
up?
I'd say more
And
than you'd think
all
because
over the nation.
I definitely see. I mean, have you ever been on a Chan board? but but
No,
not even that. But like, I'm not saying that like that it's the most common thing like at all times. I agree. Like you're gonna much more commonly see like just a maybe a little bit of a prejudiced neighbor who doesn't quite get why black people do a certain thing or whatever, right? But I think there's more people than because the one good thing that or good thing, not good thing, but the one thing that white supremacists are pretty good at doing is hiding. I will say that they're also really good at trolling, which is where the taking back of you're on Twitch, right? You know about Pepe, I'm sure, right?
yeah.
And so this whole thing, or like the OK symbol, right? Or the whole milk thing. You might have heard about that.
It was all a troll. Yeah.
Well, but it makes it very hard to spot out. And then it makes a whole bunch of liberals go, oh my God, he's doing milk or doing the OK sign and stuff.
There's always going to be trolls. There's always going to be trolls.
But here's the problem about this like post-irony world, right? Post-law, right?
Yeah.
How often do you say something or flash that OK sign or say N-words this or N-words that, and then you're starting to believe it too, right? But this is how fascists tend to work and infiltrate as well. But the problem about fighting that is that it makes everyone that's calling it out kind of look like they're ridiculous and insane when you're like if
Hold 1 second, buddy. Lennon, where are you going?
Sure.
Your mom now? Okay, go ahead. Sorry, dude.
You're good. But it makes people it makes everyone else look crazy. And it's like, oh, they're out to get, this is where that reactionary mindset comes, right? They're only out to get you because they're saying that you can't do this and can't do that. But, and let's face it, a lot of libs do that. But there's this delicate game that they play to get people on their side. And it's just always a little bit of a small thing first, right?
Yeah.
And so all I'm getting at though is it's something that you have to watch out for. You got to be careful about it. And they are really good about recruiting in that type of way.
Yeah, you gotta know the internet culture. And there's one thing I really want to talk to you about because I think we'll really have a good discussion about this. I hate to change subjects and everything,
Okay.
but shit, what was it? Okay, the Southern strategy. Okay,
Yeah.
The party change and all that. Okay, Lincoln was the first Republican. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think people think there was a party switch? And if you don't believe that, you can just say so. But I just want your thoughts on the Southern strategy during the Nixon era, and I want you to kind of give your thoughts about, because the Democrats were the KKK, the Democrats were the rebels. So can you kind of elaborate with that?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. I'm just trying to. Sorry, Jaws Bay. I'll try to change that a little later for you. I guess I'm only streaming in 1080 and this guy can't watch me that well without freezing. So yeah, the Southern strategy. Hold on, let me just see if I can change this real quick. Output. Sorry about this. Give me 1 sec. Recording audio. Gonna have to work on that. Oh wait, hold on. Use custom. Oh, damn.
Why do you do that?
I'm gonna have to figure that out later. So first off, yeah, the Dems were part of the KKK. That is irrelevant to me to what they're doing now, right? What did happen? I mean, the parties, both of them, are just vehicles for people to push a political ideology and move it, right?
Yeah.
Barry Goldwater, this is pretty well known, they talked about it, is that there was basically a shift in political thought nationwide. The Dems, pieces of shit. The Republicans, pieces of shit. Because in the end, they just went with what will get us the more votes, right? Our job is to hold them accountable to that. The Dems decided to, even back then, what was progressive, really? You know what I mean? But the GOP found that they could tap into a white evangelical base. And then, have you ever heard the term agitprop? It means like agitated propaganda.
Okay.
But there was plenty of racism in the South. We know this, right? Jim Crow definitely had a big part in that. Not saying everyone is or was, racist, but there was an evangelical base that could be tapped into that was very loyal, as we've seen now. Not saying everyone that's evangelical is also a white supremacist and hates all black people. My grandmother's an evangelical. I love her to death. But they, just like the Dems do. The Dems do polls, check about who, what works with who. And I think it just really comes down to as simple as that. Like, if someone was called the Republicans, but they were running on a platform that I felt was most pragmatic, because even the Dems are, in the end, majority, not all for most of what I want to do. There's a few that do, but not most, right? So, and they're mostly defending their status quo as well, which is id poll and not really doing anything about it. They'll talk about the problems, but not do it.
The fact is, only two politicians actually changed parties, and one was because of faith-based issues. And don't you think the South just had a change of heart and be like, hey, maybe slavery is, wrong, and maybe we should join the Republican? But that's why the South is, majority Republican now. In my opinion, and through all my research, I think the South just had a change of heart. And I think the Dems are still the same Dems. What do the Dems do? They, all the blacks are in the inner cities, and they all vote blue, and they all rely on the government. Not just all blacks, just inner cities, and they rely on public transportation, and the single mothers are they benefit for being single. It's incentivized for not being in a relationship.
Did you know that black men are more likely to be involved in their children's lives than white men? I wouldn't.
That's incorrect, because 70% of black households are fatherless compared to whites that are 30 and compared to Asians that are 11. And I think that has a lot to do with the 1350.
So we're gonna go down 1350.
It's a fact, though.
What is it? What is the fact of it?
Well, 13% of the population is the black is the black demographic, and they commit 50% of the murders, but it's actually the men. So it's actually 6%.
So you're wrong on that statistic. Do you want a chance to change it?
I would love for you to try to change my mind on that.
You can go to the FBI and read it, because I have
a link. I have a link right now for you.
You know what it says?
6% of the population commits 56.
No.
It's not 1350.
No, it's not murders. It's not murders, though.
It's not arrest. You're talking about arrest, right?
Arrest. And did you know that black men are disproportionately? No. Hold on.
That has a lot to do with.
Arrest does not mean that you're guilty, right? And as well, black men are disproportionately later found not guilty more than white people. As well, I can also go over a lot of data that shows exactly how discriminatory the justice system is against black people, but we can talk about that at another time. But that specific statistic is very much being used in a way to attack a race of people that has no bearing in
No.
reality. Yeah.
Listen to me real
You
fast.
said they commit 50% of the murders. You did not say arrest, right?
No, I said 6% commits 56%. It's not 1350, it's 656.
Wait, say that one more time.
Which is arrest. You're right, it's arrest. But listen, if we don't acknowledge that, then we can't fix the problem.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what some of the things that we should do to fix the problem because we have a lot of data on it.
So you admit there's a problem? Like, wait, hold on. Can you elaborate a little?
What do you think the problem is?
Fatherlessness.
Why do you think that might be?
It's just statistics. Like Asians, they have the lowest homicide rate, and
Why would black people
they have the most father in the house. Sorry for yelling, but I had to get my.
Why do you think black people would be less likely to be in their house?
That's a really good question. Why do you think?
Well, there's a lot of data, and let me share this with you as well. Are you in my chat by chance or no?
Yeah, I can go on your Discord.
No, I mean I can also give it in Discord as well. But also for anyone
I'm not saying this warrior gene argument. I'm saying if you don't recognize a problem, you can't fix it.
I agree. So let me talk to you about the problem. Hold on. Let me. I'm just pulling up.
And when you said if you really want to go down this road, like it's not controversial. It's it's the
1350 is pretty controversial because it is objectively used misappropriately as a weapon.
Please show me what the FBI.
I just debate chat. Yeah, and I'll bring up the FBI. But yeah, it's 13% of the population, and
give me the FBI. This is .orgs and this is .coms. .coms usually make money. Give me the FBI.
Yeah.
Not to be a dick.
No, you're good. Asking for sources is good. Mm-hmm. I should have this more on hand. I've looked it up before in general. So let me see here. Total arrests by race. Where's those percentages?
You can do the 2019 or the 2020. It's actually worse than the 2020 UCR.
Okay.
The Uniform Crime Report. Because it's out. It just came out a couple months ago.
Okay, cool. Hold on. 2020. Let me try and do it like that.
And it's a correlation with compared to the Asians with the lowest homicide rate with the most fathers in the house. That is not causation. I will admit that, but it's a strong correlation.
Thanks again for the follow, man. Where am I?
You lucky motherfucker. I want follows.
This is the most I've ever gotten in like a day.
Well, we can do this every night if you want to, man. We can do left versus right. Keep it civil and everything, and we can grow together.
Hold on here. Let me try and see. Have you seen the? Do you have a link to the 2020? I'm not seeing it right in my face.
Oops. FBI UCR 2020
this might
homicide
be it, actually.
rates, or it's arrest rates, like you said. And there's another report where there's convictions, but hold on. This is what I want. I had this on hand. I used to, then I had to reformat my hard drive. God damn it, why is this so hard? And there's also the NCABP, the National Incident Based Reporting System, which isn't ones that are reported. But anyways, hold on. Let me look. UCR. How is UCR so hard to find? Okay, I like it. We might have to do the 2019. I swear 2020 came out.
I just unzipped this file, so I'm trying to see if that's it. But
okay, April 43. Okay, I think I found it.
You did. Okay.
Okay, I'll send it in your Discord.
Thank you.
There's no text, or I'll just direct message you.
Yeah, it's because the debate one doesn't allow you like full uh, access to the Discord. Just, okay, hold on.
Wait, that might not be homicide. Hold on, that's manslaughter. That's rape. God damn it.
Do you mind, for the sake of this argument, just going with 2017, and then we can look up the new ones? This, this is use of force.
I guess, but
hold on. Let me see if it's here. Oh, maybe this is it. Quality assurance, hate crime data collection, cargo theft, summary.
this is sex offender. Ooh, okay. I think I got it. Hold on. Unless I deleted it because I didn't want it on my computer. Yeah, I deleted it off my computer. Let me keep looking. I can't find arrest of homicide. I have a lot of sex crimes. I mean, we can just go off the sex crimes. I mean, like, that's just as equally bad. It's so hard to talk about this because I can get banned so easy just for talking about it.
Oh, I've watched it plenty. Hold on.
Okay, murder.
Just don't say the N word. You'll be good.
I never do.
I didn't say you did. I'm just saying, just don't do that.
People think I vote Trump, and I spend all day, every day hating on. But it's the exact opposite. I love my black girls, man. All right.
Okay, hold on here. Okay. I have to look at this later. Anyways, I'm just going to pull up the 2017. Just for now. Right. We can go off of it for now.
All right, yeah, we'll do 2017.
So, let's see here. Total Black African American. Where is that number? I believe it's... Actually, let me do a Control F. It'll be maybe easier that way. There's, I believe, even a bit of a... okay, arrests under 18 by race. So let's see here. Calc. Just in case. I know it's like under in like the footnotes in here as well. It's just been a while since I've been here. Let's see. 218048 and 218048. Okay.
And I also sent you a mass shooter one in 2019. That's a really hard image to look at, but it's not in the graphic or anything. But my point of all this is, if you can't recognize a problem, you can't fix it.
Yeah. Thank you, Anarcho Taco. Listen, you're just inflating my ego every time you cry about it. Hold on real quick. That is a big poggers, Anarcho Taco. I agree. Okay, here. Murder total. Damn it. I know it's under here. Sorry, by the way, for everyone watching that. Okay, I
found it.
Is this 2017 or 2020?
2019.
Okay.
And if you look at here, I can even snip it. Hold on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Snipping tool. I know this is arrest, but we can discuss that. I wish the chat can see this too.
Yeah, they can once you give it to me. I'll give it to them. I'll put it on screen.
we can have a third party. Okay.
Mhm.
Save as JK.
White individuals were arrested more often for violent crimes than individuals of any other race and accounted for 58.5%. Now, I am happy to admit that white people make up the majority in this country, so that's going to happen.
By a lot, yeah.
Yeah, black or African juveniles comprised 50.9% of all juveniles arrested for crimes. White juveniles accounted for 60.2%. White juveniles comprised 54%. Where is it here? 2017, 68.9%.
I uploaded the video. If you can put that on your
where is
4,000 viewers.
Yeah, shut the fuck.
Well, hey, it's 6 times more than me.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see they were DMing me this.
Okay, so percentage of
completely honestly on this with this image, I'm not going to put that up on screen just because I want something from like a source other than just like anecdotal images. Do you understand what I mean by
that? The link is right above it.
Oh, okay. Is it this
no, I'm not
homicide?
Okay. Anarcho Taco, I'm not debating race realism. I'm talking about UCR uniform.
We are talking a little bit about 1350, and we are.
Well, yeah, we are, but it's not race realism. Race realism is lower IQs, different kind of behaviors.
I will give him this. He has not brought it up, but that is kind of where I was going with it. By what I said, are we going down this road?
I'm talking about UCR. Okay, I got you.
Because but yeah, I'm not going to say that you are, but there's always kind of like this fork in the road sometimes where people go. You know what I mean?
Okay, the FBI link is right above the picture I sent. You can post them both on your viewers. It's 2019. It's higher to 2020. I can't find that one, but it's 51.2% of murder or non-negligent manslaughter.
Yeah. Let me go to
and then overview. It's 13% of the population.
Yeah. So.
Well, actually 6 because it's mostly males.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, 69.4%. This is 2019. Individuals arrested were white, 26.6% of black or African American, 4.0% were all other races. There's actually a pretty interesting reason often for that, too. Of arrestees for whom ethnicity was reported, 19.1% Hispanic Latino. Juveniles, adults arrested 2019, 69.9% were white. Black adult arrested report was 18.8% Hispanic. White individuals arrested for violent crimes and individuals accounted 59.1. Is that what individual? Okay.
The white is 40 for murder is 45.8 and black is 51.2.
Let me just put in 51.2. Oh, I see it right there. Okay. So, yeah, murder, no, and this is, arrests, percentage distribution. Okay. So, the reason why I want to bring this up. So, okay, we have the most up-to-date UCR, right? I will save this for later, actually. So, now we can talk on this end of it. So, what I was bringing up before is, and I do need to find the data, but yes, majority of black men are also found to be not guilty or later on in prison, as well as or through court. But it sorry.
No, I would love to see an FBI. I would love to see an FBI source, which you made me do, just so you know.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And Anarcho Taco, thanks for clarifying race. Okay, yeah, I'm not talking about race realism. I'm just numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy.
Actually, are not innocent. I need to find this one specifically because I know this is accurate. I just don't know exactly where it is. But what I was going to go over in general was, and we can
not NAACP. Come on, man.
Huh?
Not NAACP. Come on, man. That's obviously biased.
Well, I mean, you can call anything biased if you want.
Well, FBI is not. Oh, if you trust the FBI is not biased.
I mean, do you trust the FBI?
Well, I trust the law enforcement agencies that send them the information.
Black Asian, minority, ethnic, disproportionate, race, death penalty, race and ethnicity. Okay, these are not the ones I want. I do. Oh, there we go. This is the one. Hold on. Okay, Michigan State.
I'm actually really interested to see how many gets off.
So African American prisoners who were convicted of murder are about 50% more likely to be innocent than other convicted murderers and spend longer in prison before exoneration. According to a report released today that's co-edited by Michigan State University College of Law professor, the vast majority of wrongful convictions are never discovered, said MSU Law's Barbara O'Brien, the author of the companion report, Exonerations in 2016. Let me drop this in here for you.
Yeah. And this is not including the unsolved murders as well. If people,
this is people that are arrested.
Yes.
So, an editor of the National Registry of Exonerations, there's no doubt anymore that innocent people get convicted regularly. That's beyond dispute. Also, a good reason talking about the death penalty, because innocent people have been nixed at because of the death penalty. A good example, but this is anecdotal, but Central Park 5 is a big one that Donald Trump actually had a huge impact in, but I won't blame it all on him. There was a lot of contention on that for a long time. But there's no doubt, going back to the paper, there's no doubt anymore that innocent people get convicted regularly. That's beyond dispute. Increasingly, police, prosecutors, and judges recognize this problem, but will we do enough to actually address it? That remains to be seen. So yeah, there's hold on. Chris, why are you calling me? Hold on. Boycott Twitch, join the go away. Whoa, hold on. Give me 1 sec.
Okay, take your time.
Okay. Anarcho Taco, what did you see in there? Oh, go on. Okay. Someone was posting lots of links. I see what it was now. So yeah, there's these exonerations from 2016, National Registry of Exonerations. But let me go to this document. Did you see when I posted this? If not, I can give you the share. Let me bring it back for you.
I mean, you can share that document if you want. I'll read it.
I did before, but this is a Google Doc, but it links to several different studies. So this is something that I was going over a little bit earlier. Okay. So this, let's talk right about fixing the problem. So a lot of the problem is with socioeconomic issues. What that means, a lot of people hear that and they hear like vague, weird speak of like, what does that even mean, right? What is socioeconomic? Basically, is slavery around anymore? No. Is every white person to blame? No. That's not what we're getting at. What we are getting at, though, is, and the civil rights happened, right? We made racism illegal, right? Well, here's the thing about that. You can change the law, but when your country, I'm not going to say founded on racism, right? Because that's a contentious thing right now. Some really heinous shit in your bot. Okay, hold on real quick. Give me 1 second. Andy, are you in chat? Apparently. Chris, are you in chat? Yes, you are. Chris, you are modded now. Sorry, 1 second. Where is my... Okay, thanks for bopping them. I would make you, Chris, but I don't know why it's not coming up for me right now. My being able to make you mod. I gotta figure that out later. Anyways, Yeah. So, oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to do this real quick. So, yeah, let me talk to you about it while I do this. So, what does that mean for what is socioeconomic, right? We hear this a lot. Fucker, what the fuck is this shit? Sorry, this just came out. I've never done this before. Oh my god.
Economic based on
yeah, no, I'm sorry. Just Twitch just I guess introduced a new feature called Mod View that I've never seen in my fucking life. Thank you. I don't want the. Oh my god. Oh. Did you see this on my screen?
Yeah, I see everything.
Oh. What the fuck was that? Oh my god. Okay. I can't figure shit out right now. I don't care. Sorry. So made racism illegal.
If you want, man.
What'd you say? No,
we can come back to this if you want.
No. This is something that you brought up. I really want to bring this up. I already talked about it a lot earlier, so I'm going to try to skim through it with also being thoughtful about it and like try to dig into it. Okay, this as a favor, will you try and like look at some of this required reading? You don't need to look at the first one. There's a BLM link here. Don't look at that one. Yeah, you can look at all the other ones. Okay.
Just tell me the first one you said.
So basically, yay, we made racism illegal, right? Well, cops in the South were based on slave drivers. Cops in the North were based in protecting capital, which this is another thing talking about whiteness. And we can get into that later, but like Italians were not white for the longest time. Irish were not white either. And they were held to a similar, but not the same standard since they were not slaves in this country, right? But because of that, because I'm not going to say it was founded on slavery, but since slavery kind of grew up with the U.S. for like 150 years or more, right?
Yeah.
There was obviously an impact, right? Now,
yes,
I can't go and fix everyone's prejudices. One thing that we talked about, and I have them too, mind you, my biggest thing is, look, I have racist thoughts sometimes. And what I do, I stop, I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's just a really stupid thing that's based off of nothing, right? So what happens though is media, and I was showing them like how we view like white protesters versus like talking about black protesters in news media. It's very different. And also let's look at, by the way, this is, you want to know what I go to school for? I'm a film studies major. I will be doing poli-sci, I believe, as my concentration, my minor, but I study film. So, you know, I know it gets annoying and like a little woke when people talk about representation, right? But there is a meaning to it, because the first movie, do you know what the first movie shown at the White House was?
Hold on, I know this. Birth of a Nation.
Yep. Which was the
I knew that.
Yep, which is the Klan Saves America, right?
Yeah.
So now, but that gives you an idea, right? The jazz singer was another. These things hold on for time. Look at gay people and how it's changed vastly of how they're shown in media, right? Which has changed quite a bit too. So now, don't get me wrong, it's really annoying when companies shove it in there very stupidly, like Marvel and their girl power moment that really meant nothing, right? Like, I get that. I'm right there with you.
Real quick, do you know the Grammys? They have a category that you need at least like 40% minority people working on the film, even to be nominated for the Grammys. Mm-hmm. Did you know that? Yeah.
Or you mean
maybe not 40%.
Oscars? You mean the Oscars?
Right? Oscars, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but honestly though, that's pretty small when, believe it or not, like comparatively. But part of what we'll get into kind of talks about this. So let's skip the BLM one, right? So This is an investigation from the Ferguson Police Department. These socioeconomic things, like redlining, for example, World War II happened, right? A whole bunch of people went and fought. Tuskegee Airmen got experimented on, right? They went, fought. came back, whole bunch of white people. By the way, I'm a vet, right? So I'm going to school using a GI Bill. A lot of people.
You're a vet?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I was in the
awesome.
Navy. Yeah, you're welcome. No. So they came back, right? Housing was super cheap. Bunch of white people, because it was World War II. Yeah, white people definitely had it better back then. Were able to buy houses, and I'm sure you're familiar with the term redlining. Basically, they incentivized companies to not sell to black people, to not devalue the neighborhood, right? What this, in effect, has done was like DMVs, harder to get to. This is where you hear about like the voter ID thing, right? With black people.
Yeah.
We're gonna, hey, I'm pro voter ID. Just make it free and send it to people. This is where the issue comes.
You know what red pilled me, man, was some dude made a video asking, hey, is voter ID racist? And all the white liberals were saying, yeah, that's racist because blacks don't have an ID. They don't know how to get one. That red pilled the fuck out of me.
I think that is
that red pilled me so hard.
I don't know anyone that's saying they don't know how to get one. I only hear conservatives say that, to be honest.
No. You
know what it is, though? Okay, but you know what it actually is, though, right? It's just more difficult for black people to get an ID.
What to me, that's racist, right? Why is it more difficult?
Because the socioeconomic conditions that have been placed in front of them, often, sometimes intentionally, and this is, do you want to hear something that you might think is contentious? The less people vote, and this is like by data, we can show this. The less people vote, the more likely conservatives will win. Because the fact is the Conservative Party is the smaller party in the U.S.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. And the
but
less people,
what does that have to do with the black people?
Because how they gerrymander lines is very important into this. And the fact that if you cannot get a voter ID and they make it, do you know that in, I believe it was North Carolina, they specifically targeted a specific ID that only, or not only, but majority black people used to, and the judge knocked it down because they recognized it as specifically targeting black people. It's things like this that make, it's not that black people don't know how to get an ID. It's that similar to, not all, but like, okay, so like, here's the thing. So like, I live in New York City. I don't live in a poor neighborhood, but I don't live in like a rich one either, right? And I have a grocery store here. It's doesn't have a lot of stuff comparatively, and it's nowhere near as cheap as something like Trader Joe's. You can look at Trader Joe's and where they're at in cities, and they're always outside of black neighborhoods. There's generally a reason that while it may not be in like, well, we're just putting them in these locations, these type of things, and it's similar with DMVs. Like you were saying, talking about relying more on public transportation. Well, I live in New York, where public transportation, as people love to shit on it, and there's plenty to shit on about it, has a much stronger public transportation infrastructure than most cities in this country, right? So it's a lot harder to get some, if you're working a job, maybe two jobs, and you maybe don't have a car, and then you need to try to get to a place like the DMV, and then you don't have a ton of money, and then they make it very challenging. Haven't you ever been to the DMV? I had to go to the DMV 3 fucking times.
I'm
just
sorry,
to get
man.
my ID.
I'm sorry. You're driving me crazy right now with that
Why?
statement.
There's, it's not that they don't know how. It's that the system is actively working against people to make it harder on them to be able to do it. First off, why can't...
So if I was black and I went to the DMV, it'd be harder for me to get an ID.
Generally, but also if you're poor, those things do intersect, by the way. Just because you're black doesn't mean that... Yeah, that's money for food. What about those single mothers that you were talking about?
Okay, hold on. Let's
what about them though? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you like?
You think $18 is going to make or break your monthly?
My grandmother's dirt poor. It would that would definitely affect her. $18, dude, that's fucking food.
How can she afford a car? Hold on.
I didn't say that she'd afford a car.
I
I'm
know,
saying
I
she's
know,
taking
I know,
public
I know. It's an
transport.
idea. I know it's an idea. Hold on. Hold on. Uh,
Also, as a narco talker brought up, very valid too. Historically, black and marginalized folk have had less access to generational wealth accumulation. So, in contemporary times, they are more susceptible to classist policy implementation. Which, going
yeah.
to class,
What,
it is a class issue.
what she said, what he said was correct, but it's a completely different world right now.
What do you mean?
There wasn't mass. I can get a job anywhere now. There's so many jobs,
But not as a black
available.
person. Did you know that if you
I never had generation wealth. I never had a dime spent.
Yes.
I never.
Hey, hold on. I want to address this because it's a very valid concern. So, as a socialist, I recognize class issues. However, those class issues intersect with race issues because while there's a huge class disparity in this country, many of those people are also white people. Many of them are also Asian people and just all other races, right? However, a disproportionate amount of them are black, and there is a reason. Now, like Taco was saying, inherited wealth. Now, you may not have had that. Very valid. However, let's look at things like this. So I'm sure, and to be fair, there's valid criticisms against things like this, but shit, I was just talking about it earlier. Oh my God. Chris, what was I talking about earlier with resumes? Fuck me.
I'm interested to hear this.
Yeah. What is the word? What's the thing that conservatives hate that in colleges that about accepting black people?
Affirmative action.
Thank you. Yeah, I said it earlier. So first off, affirmative action is a Band-Aid solution that doesn't really work. I'll give you that. Mainly, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it actually benefits white women the most, oddly. But the reason why things like that exist is because data shows that both at colleges and at jobs, if, by the way, how affirmative action is supposed to work, which it does not always, and they do not have to, it's just incentivized to, right? Mm-hmm. How affirmative action works is the idea is if you have two identical candidates, one is white, one is black, they have the same education and same skill set. If you choose the black guy or a black girl, you'll get maybe a little bit of a tax break. Reason why is because, which is a really silly way to try to incentivize that, but the reason why is because those same people, when they do get the same exact resumes, white people are chosen more. And there's actually
of the name?
Part of it, not always, but that sometimes address, which is you could say is a class thing.
That disproves that, but okay, go ahead. Sorry.
There's a couple cities on that though, and I think I know what you're talking about as well, because there is data to show that name, but not just name, but depending on location, which you could just say is also a class issue, which it is. But again, black people are disproportionately part of the lower class. Now, black people are picked less for their work and colleges. That's why things like affirmative action exist. However, again, it is a Band-Aid solution that doesn't really solve the problem. But that's one thing of inherent bias, right? Also, you were talking about getting a job anywhere, and this is all across the board, black people, white people, Asian people, anything, Many people, especially right now, with these massive class disparities, what it is not just getting employed anymore, right? It's not getting underemployed. Because what if you get a job that you can barely work a second, but you need a second job to live? So there's these issues that I think we all can agree and understand. But going deeper, right? Socioeconomics. So all these things have been historically happening over time for decades, right? And also, let's not even forget Nixon's aid. The drug war itself, which is addressed in this, was to target black people and hippies. They said it during the Vietnam War.
That's where the term marijuana came from. Okay, hey
Yeah.
man, we've been at this for almost 2 hours right now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
end it on this,
Yeah.
and you can do a little rebuttal if you want. But I mean, if you know, all my black friends, if you told them it's it's kind of racist to enforce a voter ID law because black people have a harder chance of, a harder chance of getting an ID. They'll get extremely upset. I get extremely upset when you said that. And this one iron word commenter of mine said, white liberals love to assault moderate and right-wing white democrats with black welfare, while white liberals live in some of the wealthier cities and actively maintain segregation through white flight and gentrification. I think that's
true. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Maybe we can finish this discussion up later. I got to eat some dinner, spend some time with my wife. It was really nice talking to you. Hopefully we can give each other a follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna end it on that. I'll let you say,
let me just,
2 minutes worth of stuff, then I really got
Normally I would have read through all this. I did read a lot through it earlier. I will ask you to please read through it because there's a lot of data that
well, do you have a specific which one? There's like 7,000
all of them.
Links. All of them? Okay.
So look, there's highlights. You can then check their validity, but there's very thorough highlights of exactly what and exactly how inherent biases as well as judicial ones and the prison system affect people. Now, with the voter ID thing, I'll end it on this. Voter ID, first off, we don't have, let's not get in that. Voter ID is fine if we make it super easy for everyone to get because of...
Have an ID, you get the vote, no problem.
Yeah, but make it free and send it to people, everyone. But we already have something like that. We already have an ID that everyone is basically born with.
Well, then we should just get free car registration and free gun.
I mean, sure, but use your social security card number. Why can't that be it? Isn't that a pretty secretive ID number there that you got? You know?
Actually, yeah, that would work. Maybe that
I would be all for. If it was just using that identifier that everyone is basically born with, that would be a thing. But one where that's intentionally made hard for people to get, that I'm not for. So, hey, it's cola, right? Here, I'll give you. I'll watch out for you.
Colachill. I'll watch out for you too. Really nice conversation. I learned a lot. Hopefully you got some new perspective. And hopefully I'll talk to you again, bud.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
See you.
Alrighty, kids. How'd we do? That was my first debate on here. I could have been a little bit firmer on some things, but we did talk for a good while. It was cordial, at least. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you for the GGs, guys. And thank you for everyone that fucking came through. Holy shit.